Well, good evening. This is a really exciting time to be together, and I trust that for those of you who are listening in this evening, you're going to be as excited as me to hear from our very special guest this evening. I remember in the year 2006 visiting the Hilton Hotel in Johannesburg, South Africa, and who should come along to meet with me, and that was Terence Ogle. And it was a great opportunity for us to get to know each other and spend a bit of time together. And Terence has been an instrumental part of where Map for Life is today. It's just been so exciting to engage with Terence. And tonight he's going to be sharing with us an exciting message on the question of what drives you. So I'm looking forward to hearing all about this tonight, Terence, and let us share some of the exciting tips that you have with the audience tonight. Over to you.
Thank you, Glenn, for that introduction. And yes, it's been a wonderful journey that I've had with you and Match for Life. And I thank you for this opportunity to share with the broader audience what Map for Life is all about, and you know the impact it's made in my life. So thank you very much. Welcome everybody. As Glenn has said, my name is Terence Ogle. I'm currently speaking out of Johannesburg, South Africa, and I'm really excited to share with you some thoughts around being driven and what being driven means. So the title of my talk tonight is driven. And I want to begin by asking you, the audience, a few questions. Firstly, what drives you? What drives you in life? What drives you to get out of bed in the morning? What drives you to do what you do every day? Is there some bigger desire, an unseen force maybe, that's propelling you forward towards a desired end goal? So in life, we're either moving forward or standing still. And hopefully we're not moving backwards. But we were designed to be moving forward, to be going on this life journey to reach our destination, to reach a purpose. So I ask the question again, on this life's journey, are you an active participant in the driving process? Maybe you're even the driver on the journey. Or are you a passive passenger? Is your life on autopilot mode right now? And if it is, I trust that what I'm about to share with you will provide some level of motivation for you to move from passive observer to active driver on your life's journey. So for the next few minutes, please join me in unpacking the word driven. The letter D in the word driven stands for destination. Okay. So if one is driving from a point to somewhere, you need to know two things. One, where are you? And two, what is your destination? Without your destination, if you leave where you are, you're going to end up anywhere. Seneca, a Roman philosopher, once wrote, and I quote, "If you don't know which port you are sailing to, any wind is favorable," unquote. So too in life. If we do not have a clear understanding and definition of where our destination is, we are likely to be tossed around like a boat in rough seas. And what is worse, we probably won't even be aware of what's happening to us in that storm. So in Map for Life, this destination is associated with dreams, as captured, for example, on a vision board. It's important, though, that that destination and those dreams are aligned to our purpose, are aligned to our life purpose. Glenn McQuirk, who's just introduced me, the founder of Map for Life, has this quote to say, and I quote, "You are born for a purpose that the world cannot do without." Unquote. If you add to that the fact that we as individuals are unique, and in that uniqueness, it's only you and I that can fill our individual purposes. We cannot outsource or delegate our purpose and our life's journey to someone else. But isn't it ironic that in the society in which we live, we do in fact outsource many aspects of our life's journey? As an example, when we are in a work environment, it's often almost dictated to us how we dress, how we behave, when we come to work, when we leave work, when we take lunch break. So we are bombarded with all these rules and regulations that often rob us of what we were actually meant, or how we were actually meant to live out our life's journey. This may sound daunting, but fortunately, we have tools and resources in the Map for Life methodology to assist on your journey. So once one's current position and destination have been established and determined, another D, that of direction, comes into play. So we know that on life's journey, the road we travel is seldom a straight line between 2 points. We experience detours, we experience obstacles. To keep us focused on our destination, we require goals that are aligned to our end state. Now, in Map for Life, we have templates which assist to record and monitor one's goals. We speak of having the need of having SMART goals. And here we mean the goals that we have on life's journey need to be specific, so very clear in our minds. They need to be measurable in order to determine whether or not we are meeting those goals. They need to be attainable. And that's an interesting one. You know, there's a saying, reach for the stars. A few decades ago, if I had said one of my goals is to go into space, to step on the moon, you'd have thought ridiculous. But that's been achieved. So they need to be attainable, but attainable needs to be often outside of the sphere of what we know. They need to be relevant. It doesn't help me having goals that are going to help others and not move me forward to what my objectives are. They need to be time bound. They need to have a beginning and an end so that we can know how far we've progressed and when we've actually achieved them. The R in Driven stands for resources. So what do we need to achieve our goals and reach our destination? So there's two aspects to resources. One is that we are endowed with certain gifts and talents, and those are the resources that we come into this world with or we acquire. And two, the other set of resources comes from those around us, the people we connect with, the community that we are part of. They too can help us achieve our goals and ultimately reach our life's destination. There's a saying which goes, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It is so true. It is so important that when we've fixed our life's journey on a certain purpose, we mix with the right people, we mix in the right communities that can assist us rather than hinder us from getting and achieving our goals. So in Map for Life as well, we have these communities who meet regularly, hold each other accountable, encourage each other, and spur each other on to reach each one's destination and one's life's purpose. So it is critical that we surround ourselves with people who motivate us rather than people who pull us down. It is also important that our dreams are nurtured until they are achieved. Our dreams are like a plant that needs sustenance, it needs food, it needs sunlight, it needs they need good soil. That's the way our lives are. And we need to make sure that we provide all those ingredients in order to achieve a life that's well lived. The I stands for intentional. So once we've decided where we want to go, we've decided the direction, we've got our goals, we then need to be intentional about how we actually live out our lives. I love how John Maxwell puts it, and I quote: an unintentional life accepts everything and does nothing. An intentional life embraces only the things that will add to the mission of significance. So being intentional requires some effort of saying no to certain things and saying yes to those that will progress us to our ultimate goal and destination. Intentional and attentive living means to live the life that we were truly meant to live, fulfilling our purpose, living a life by design rather than by default, not a life that just happens haphazardly. Let's be intentional, let's be attentive, let's have a plan for our lives, let's have a map for our lives. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, and I quote: the purpose of life is not to be happy. Found that strange. But he continues to say, the purpose of life is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. Wouldn't it be great if, when we reach the end of our life here on earth, we have the knowledge that we have lived a life worth living, that we have lived well? Just some ways that I can offer to live, be intentional about how we live. One, be mindful of the media we consume. We're bombarded with so much media, and much of that media can, yes, assist us in moving forward on our life's journey, but much of it is destructive. Much of it is meant to distract from what our purpose really is. Two, choose to be kind. Practice random acts of kindness. Costs nothing, but the impact is huge, not only on the receiver of that kindness, but also on you as the giver of that kindness. Do something that brings you joy. That's how we were created. We were created to be people filled with joy. Practice active listening. In a world that we bombarded with this continuous information coming out, it actually is an art. It's an art to be able to listen, just to quiet oneself and listen, really listen to what others are saying to us. And then one that I consider extremely important as well is prioritize rest and self-care. Again, the world would have us be on a treadmill all the time, but we weren't created to go at that pace. We need to rest at times and care for ourselves so that we can finish the journey strong. V stands for values. Values are beliefs that motivate us to act one way or the other. Some values have intrinsic worth, such as love, truth, freedom, while others, such as ambition, responsibility, courage, are behaviors that are instrumental as a means to an end. Both are important. In a world that sometimes seems to have gone crazy, embracing noble values is liberating for individuals as well as for society as a whole. And here again, I want to offer some core values that are worth embracing and making part of our journey. Loyalty. In a world of quick fixes, loyalty is rare. Let's embrace the value of loyalty. Respect. Let's give each other the respect that we deserve. Action. Society has conditioned people not to be people of action. Let's be people who step up and step out. Let's be people who raise our hands and say, I'll do that, no matter how difficult or awkward it might be. Compassion. We live in a world that's harsh and tough, and not everybody has the privileges that we might have. So let's be compassionate. Wisdom. You know, in a world where there's so much data, information is so freely available, you've just got to Google it. It's all out there, but what's sorely lacking in our world today is true wisdom, beyond knowledge, beyond just the information, the ability to make wise life decisions. E. E stands for eternity. Our actions in this life have eternal consequences. Life beyond our final breath here on earth is much more than just a destination. Living our minds with eternity in mind, living our lives with eternity in mind, will nudge us to live more intentional, more meaningful, and more purpose-driven lives, creating legacy that will impact generations to come. And the way Glenn has positioned Math for Life, it's all about legacy, it's all about generational influence and impact. So let's think beyond this life into eternity. Two books that I would highly recommend in this area of eternity are Driven by Eternity by John Bevere, excellent book. And the second is 1 Month to Live, 30 Days to a No Regrets Life by Kerry and Chris Shook. And the last letter in the word driven is N. And N stands for now. There is no better time to begin living out our lives by design rather than by default than now. Map for Life is a methodology that has all the tools to assist in your life journey to live passionately, to be fully alive and without regrets. And the good news is, it is never too late, it is never too early to begin living this life of purpose. In summary then, I'll quickly recap. D is for destination, R for resources, I for intentional, V for values, E for eternity, and N for now. I want to end this talk with a few lines from my favorite poem. It's a poem entitled If by Rudyard Kipling. And it goes like this. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm now going to hand you over to the facilitator, a global ambassador for Map for Life, Peter Darrell, who will facilitate the panel discussion. And I encourage you to participate in that discussion by posting comments as the discussion progresses. It's been really great chatting to you tonight. I hope I've managed to sow a seed of motivation, a seed that's going to get something started in your life. I really appreciate the opportunity of chatting in this way to you. God bless and goodbye.
Thank you, Terence. That was fantastic. I sort of all excited about doing it now. And I think that thought about doing it now for eternity is so important. And as we go into this panel discussion, I was just looking at the what MAP was all about, or Map for Life was all about. And the purpose is to map the world. And the vision is positive global influence. And what for me is so exciting about these MAP chats on a Wednesday is that so often when we get together as a panel, the panel is made up of people from around the world. And I know that we have people from around the world with us today. And you can see that MAP is reaching out and having a global influence. The objective was to have 200 countries involved by 2020. And I'm not sure of the exact number that we've got to, but we're close to that now. And I think and it's having people like Terence around and delivering presentations like that and helping us move from where we are now to where we want to. And I see my panels coming through. So I'm just going to sort of ask them to introduce themselves. And the first one on top of my screen is Amelia. So Amelia, would you just introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Hi, Peter. Thank you very much. And hello, everybody. Yes, I am from sunny South Africa, here in Centurion, Gauteng. And I became involved with Map for Life when friends gave me a map book as a gift in 2010 when I started my own business. And the rest is history. You know, I started using the tool, absolutely loved it. And then became involved in helping others to use the tool to map their lives and live purposeful lives. So I absolutely love this tool and I highly recommend it to everybody all the time, wherever I go. And it's always amazing to see the difference that it makes.
Wonderful. And now we've got a truly international panel member, Heather. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good evening. I envy the sunny Gauteng area because we're in freezing United Kingdom, -2 degrees, yes, but we're surviving. Great to be on tonight. I was introduced to Map for Life at the beginning when my brother attended a course that Glenn was putting on way back in 2000. But I also went on holiday to Cape Town in 2015 and in Bikini Beach Bookshop found a 2003 copy, which had a free gift in it. It was brand new, book never used. I thought, well, I'll be cheeky and, apply for the free gift. And of course, started a course with Glenn. What Map for Life has done for me has taken my to-do list into a today list. So I'm all for the now.
Wonderful. And Bucks, what about you? Bucks, I'm not hearing you.
I just had to unmute myself. Peter, thank you. I've recently moved, and I'm recently moved to the windy city of Port Elizabeth in South Africa, but they also call it the friendly city, and I come from the Mpumalanga. But one thing that I realized in the last, I'm in Port Elizabeth now for 2 weeks. One thing that I realized for myself in terms of Map for Life is the three basic principles that we need to have. There must be some mentorship, there must be some accountability, and there must be participation. Now, I've been one of the Map for Life people that were on the background and saying, yes, I do it, no, I don't, and not being active. But the moving to Port Elizabeth, where I'm a total stranger, I all of a sudden realized that I cannot do it alone. I've spoken to Glenn about that, and the mentorship thing and accountability and participation is crucial if I want to become significant. So, a citing new period in my life, and Map for Life is the tool to reach significance.
Wonderful, Bucks, and we just wish you all the best in Port Elizabeth. And I was talking about Port Elizabeth today, and we decided maybe it is not the windiest city in the country. The folk will say that the wind blows a lot harder in Cape Town, but it's a wonderful place. Like Glenn, I've got East London blood in me, so I'm just up the road. Just coming back to Terence's presentation, I thought he posed an incredible question, and it was a case of what drives you? What drives you to get up in the morning? So if we can go through and just comment on what drives us. Amelia?
You know, I was also thinking about that, and I think the one thing that I would say that drives me is to help people, and help people in various different ways, you know. But most of it is to coach people and help them to understand the importance of their uniqueness, and understand that there are no one-size-fits-all solutions for any problems, and that people can actually take control of their lives, and with a little bit of effort, when they figure out what they want, be able to attain their goals. And it's always, I love it, helping people on their journey and see how they actually become successful. It's very rewarding.
Wonderful. Heather?
What drives me? A very interesting question. The thing is that when I wake up in the morning, I'm so excited because I've woken up. I'm blessed. God's given me another day. That is reason enough to get out of the bed and start something. And throughout the day, when I feel myself thinking, you know, I got this to do, I got that to do, I remind myself, you've been blessed with today. Go out and conquer. So I'm all about God's blessing.
Wonderful. And Bucks, what about you?
Peter, what drives me, and it's been driving me for a while, but with a great difficulty, and that's my passion, that every person that is being created has a right to grow and develop to their full potential. Now what happened is and I think I never give it any thought to move from where I came from, and moving to Port Elizabeth is probably. And I've asked the question when I landed up here, and I said, "I'm here. Why?" And I think it was meant to be. The Lord took me up from where I were totally overflown by circumstances, my job, my relationship with everybody. You had to take me out here to say to us, look, you're not going to, with all the noise in your head, you're not going to reach what you are intended to be. And I think that's one of the reasons that I've been placed in Port Elizabeth. But it's a journey. I think about that every day, and I ask the question every day: is I'm in Port Elizabeth now. Why?
Yes.
Just give me the way forward. I'm here.
Wonderful. Go on, Bucks. You're going to say something more,
but it's not easy. It takes really time to sit down and meditate with the Lord,
yes.
and to listen, and see where's He taking me.
Okay, moving forward, Terence recommended 2 books, and I thought that was a great recommendation. I think we're all in the same boat, that we leaders, and because we leaders, we readers. And I'd like you to come up with, have you got any books that you would recommend? I've got 2 books here in front of me that I've been working on. And as I've been preparing my plan for 2022, these books have been guiding me through to it. The one is a book called Finishing Well by Bob Buford, who wrote Half Time. And and he's been one of my great mentors. But it's a case of the adventure of life beyond half time, and it's a case study of I don't know how many people, but maybe 50 different people who have moved forward. And like Bucks, they've gone through a monumental change, and how they got to that change and what it's done for him. So that's one of the books I'd be talking about. And then the other book, is a book called, I hope I get it right this time, What Matters Most. And it's the power of living your values. And it's a wonderful book. And again, it's about dealing with the second half of one's life and becoming and moving from success to significance. And I'm going to say beyond that. So those are the two books that I would be recommending and focusing on. I'd like to hear from others. Amelia, have you got any that you would be recommending?
Currently, my focus is on John Cayu's Mind Power and all the affirmations and everything that goes with that, and that goes a lot with what Terence said about focus, understanding where you're going. And once you know where you are going, put your mind to it. So I'm absolutely enjoying that book at the moment. And then I also found another book that I've read many years ago. The name of the book is My Life as an Apple Tree. And it's written by Colleen Joy Page. And it's all about the individual. So she was basically one day looking out at a whole lot of trees. And she saw this big, almost like a forest with a whole lot of trees. And there was one apple tree in the middle of this forest. And that made her realize she must stop trying to solve her problems in life through trying to apply other people's solutions. She must understand that she's unique. She has a unique life. She's an apple tree. She cannot go with the pine trees and follow what the pine trees suggest. And that's one book that I bought, I think probably about 20 years ago. And the other day when I was looking for something to read, my eye caught that again. And it's absolutely an amazing book. I can really recommend that as well.
Wow, it sounds exciting, and I think it's an important thing. Heather, what about you?
Well, two books I'd recommend. The first one is The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. I mean, in there she talks about having goals and then how you sometimes talk yourself out of it, and what you say to and about other people that ruins their destination as well. So, it's a great book to read. It's got some spiritual content as well. So that for me is a book everybody's got to live by, as well as the Bible, obviously. The Bible
that's
would be
quite an old book, isn't it?
It's an old book, but you know what? Yeah. It's worth it. Another book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, because he tends to cover all the aspects that came up in Terence's Driven. The destination, the resources, intention, values, eternity. Now, it's all in that book. So yes. Those are my two suggestions.
Thank you, Heather. What about you, Bucks?
Got it as a gift about 6 or 8 months back. And the title of the book is Leading from Within. Now, I can't remember the author. I'm actually still busy with it. Leading from in is that you need to lead from the inside, from your heart. That's part of it. So that's a very good book. And when I left Witbank, somebody gave me a voucher, a Cum Books voucher. So I arrived here in Port Elizabeth, and I Google searched Cum, and I found the Cum shop, and I went into that Cum shop, and I wanted to buy a book because I got this voucher. And I was looking at a number of books, and there was a number of John Maxwell books, and I have hundreds of them already. So I decided I'm not going to buy another John Maxwell book. So I really battled to find a book. And then I picked up a book, and it's probably the title, and it's Born for Significance, by Bill Johnson. And I bought the book, and I said, man, and I started reading the book, and I said, it's one of those religious books, and it's going to be but this really was the right book for me at the right stage that I landed in PE. And I'm born for significance. And part of my significance is I receive blessings from the Lord to be able to bless others. So whatever I have, I need to share that with others.
Yes.
And be I need to be Christ for the people where I'm in the community. So it's a pretty good book, and I've read it quickly and I'll put it down. So I'm going to read it again. I tend to read books 3 or 4 times before I really take in what it is. But that is actually a very good book. So yeah, those are the 2 books that I can recommend.
Now, Terence spoke about values. How do you feel about values, and are they important to you? Amelia?
Peter,
but you talking, but go on.
I've had that discussion with a company just a couple of days ago, and values, and they cornered me with the question is define values, and I said, okay, that's not easy, because values mean different things for different people. But values is the thing that drives us. All my decisions, and that I've realized a while back ago, all my decisions is driven by my values. Even if I pluck myself on the wheel of life, or the business wheel, the score that I give myself is driven by the values. Values sometimes is unknown. I'm not aware of the value, and that's the secret that I've spoken to the people. We need to really sit down, and we need to really get counsel from the Lord to tell us what is values and what He wants us to value in life. So yeah, values is important. That drives all our decisions.
Amelia?
I absolutely agree, Bux. And for me, values is at the core of our being. Values is what make us tick. Now, I do believe that your values can change over the years and during specific time periods. For example, you might, let's almost say by default, be a person for whom honesty and integrity is absolutely at the core of your being. There might be periods in your life where you go through stages where you have to apply other values as well in addition to that. But I think your basic core values is always there. That will always remain the same. And that's the one thing I think, when people ask me, but, how does what exactly is values? So for me, values is that thing that makes you tick. Values is that thing that makes you feel comfortable with something or not comfortable with something. Some of it is learned, but I think a lot of it is just part of our basic makeup and our basic talents and our basic God-given core that we are born with.
Yes. And Heather?
I tend to think that values are more of the things that we are taught when we're small. Because if you are born into a family that doesn't have, say, the value of honesty, from small you learn the habit of lying, of cheating. You don't know that there is even a value of honesty, because to you that becomes your way of life. we see little children stealing is because maybe they've seen an adult stealing or they've been taught to steal.
Yes,
Integrity, certain things, even about like a value of that, personal hygiene. If you're in a family that's never taught you to bathe every day, brush your teeth every day, you don't take that value with you later on. So for me, a lot of the values are set in us when we're little. As we grow older and we become wiser, we become more accountable for our values and how we learn them. But it does become very difficult for you if you didn't know that that is actually the right way to do things. We are blessed if you are a Christian, because the Bible does teach us certain values. And I do believe that the good values are naturally in you, but they need guidance, they need molding. And as you go older, you need to actually be careful and monitor your values, because it's so easy to be influenced by the people around you. Terence spoke about who you associate with, and they can actually allow you to temper your values and lower your standards. So, yeah, quite not as simple as it seems to me, not as straightforward as it seems, but as an individual, we should try and develop good values.
I've had an interesting week on values. Part of it was because of my journey with this book by Hiram Smith, and the power of living your values. And it suddenly made me stop and to think about my values. And I suddenly came to the realization that there's certain things that I value, but I'm actually not living my life according to those values. And I need to make adjustments to bring my lifestyle into my value style, and how important it is. And I had to listen to a wonderful sermon on Sunday where the pastor was talking about family values and how the family as such have set down 7 family values. And when it comes to training the children, it's a case of just taking the children back to the values and saying, you don't hit your sister because this is what we value, and things like that. And I thought it was so important. And it's just coming back to what Heather was saying, and how we instill values into our children. We talk about generational issues, and I think the values is an important side of the generation thing. I was talking to somebody this morning, and they came up with a family value because they regarded their family life so important that they've got a key issue that on a Sunday, they never go out on a Sunday, other than to church and so on. But as a family, they stay together. And it's a case of, if you invite them to come to your place for a bright place on a Sunday, I know they don't come on a Sunday. That's the time we as a family get together and bond. And I thought, wow, that's a real solid family value. And I think part of the MAP process, it does focus on values and how important it is to live by those values. The one I liked that Terence touched on, and it was this question of sometimes we wind up working for somebody else, and we surrendered, and we become an active passenger, that we're working for a big company and they lay down so many rules and regulations. It's something that we need to think about. And so I was challenged by the question of values, and I certainly was challenged by this question about, are we just a passive passenger drifting through, or are we an active driver? I'd just like some comments on that point. Amelia?
I think a person can obviously be both. The right decision in my mind would be to be an active participant and not just going with the flow and just being there. Because that's when you can actually make the change, is when you actively make a decision decide what it is, and then focus on getting that done, rather than just, so many people are just going with the flow. You wake up, you go to work, you come back, you watch TV, you sleep, You have to be an active participant in your life. You have to be.
Heather?
Bob Proctor has another way of putting it. He asks the question, are you an extra in your own movie? And unfortunately, a lot of the time we are, because and I'm talking about myself here, because I go every day and I do this job that I don't like, and my job, part of auditing, is sort of like looking for negative things, and that's against my value, because I'd like to see positive things. So sometimes we get so bogged down in life that we just literally, are going through it. And a lot of the time it's because we don't have those goals, because we haven't set those goals. So we're busy wandering around. We're traveling, but no destination. And I've got to just say, I've got a favorite quote by Robert Heinlein. In the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Terence spoke about the media. Some people go to work, get home, watch TV, eat, go to bed. Tomorrow, what are they doing? Exactly the same thing. So yeah, you've got to make a change, as Amelia says, and become active.
Yeah, no, wonderful. I love that, and I love this, this question of enslaved by daily trivia, and we can get so caught up in some of those things. And I certainly have been looking at my life, feeling that maybe some of the things that I've been enslaved by are those daily trivia, and I need to adjust those and move closer to my values. Bucks, have you got anything to add?
I think what the challenge that I have, the work that I do, I'm good at it. I'm really good at it, and being good at it is sort of, everybody wants my services because I'm good at it. But at the end of the day, I'm missing my purpose. And again, coming back to my moving to Port Elizabeth, that's probably why the Lord shifted me to Port Elizabeth, where nobody knows how good I am in the work that I do, so that I can become what the Lord really wants me to be.
Wonderful. In fact, I've really enjoyed this session, and I could carry on for hours on it. But one last question: are you going to implement something that you've learned from today? Amelia?
Oops, sorry about that. Yes, I think for me, what really jumped out was the uniqueness of each individual, and our schooling systems that tend to let us conform to certain rules. And I think what I'm going to take from this is to absolutely celebrate my uniqueness and be who I am.
Fantastic. Heather?
Terence mentioned that book about 30 Days to Live or something, and he spoke about now. I'm too busy planning my life. And what I really need to do is stop and follow my purpose now. Not in a few weeks when I've taken care of my debt. Not I got to now. Now's the only time. So I've got to do it now, and that's what I've got to take away from this.
Lovely. And Bucks?
I totally agree with Amelia and Heather. It's and really, this is what I've been thinking about for the last month or two. Is to say, I need to get out of my old skin, and just become what I'm born to do. But it takes an effort, because the noises in there are still there. So I need to work on that. And But again, tonight just confirmed to me is that I have a purpose, and I need to find my purpose. I think I know what my purpose is, but I just need to get to start to live the purpose that I've been created to.
Wonderful. The Map for Life slogan is design tomorrow today. So my challenge to all listening is a case of, are you going to design tomorrow today, with the added saying of, please do it now. Thank you for being with us, and good night to you all.